In the chaos of modern life, where distractions abound and pressure to conform is constant, intelligent people stand out not only for their intellectual prowess, but for their ability to navigate the world with clarity, purpose, and composure. These individuals aren't just gifted with sharp minds. They possess a deeper understanding of how to live a fulfilling life, grounded in the principles of ancient Stoic philosophy. For Stoics, the focus is not on what happens to us, but on how we choose to respond. In a world obsessed with control, external validation, and material wealth, Stoicism offers a counterbalance, a way to cultivate inner strength, resilience, and wisdom by recognizing the things that truly matter and letting go of the rest. This approach to life is not about being emotionless or indifferent, but about mastering the art of living with intention and reason. Intelligent people, whether consciously or unconsciously, avoid many of the common pitfalls that derail others, guiding their lives by the principles of self-control, emotional balance, and rationality. 1. Overreacting to things outside of their control. Intelligent people are profoundly aware that most of life operates beyond the scope of their control, and instead of wasting valuable energy on futile attempts to change or manipulate external events, they focus their attention inward, cultivating a mindset that allows them to respond to life's unpredictability with calmness and reason. Stoicism teaches that there are two spheres of existence: the things we can control, our thoughts, actions, decisions, and attitudes, and the things we cannot control, which includes external events, the behavior of others, and the outcomes of our efforts. Intelligent people deeply internalize this principle and use it as a compass to guide their reactions to the world. They avoid overreacting to things they cannot change because they understand that it only leads to frustration, stress, and emotional upheaval. For instance, if an intelligent person encounters a delay in their travel due to a traffic jam, instead of cursing the situation and allowing anger to boil over, they accept it as a reality beyond their influence. They turn their attention to something productive, such as listening to a podcast, reflecting on their day, or practicing patience. In relationships, when someone says something rude or inconsiderate, they don't allow their ego to get inflamed. They step back, evaluate whether the remark is worthy of a reaction, and if it's not, they let it pass without letting it disturb their peace of mind. By practicing this deliberate restraint, they maintain control over their emotional state and avoid the emotional turbulence that often accompanies impulsive reactions. Over time, this leads to greater inner peace and emotional stability. The ability to detach from external outcomes and focus only on what they can control allows intelligent individuals to navigate life's challenges with grace, making them more resilient in the face of adversity. They live by the Stoic mantra that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. By mastering their judgments, they avoid being tossed about by the whims of fortune, finding calm in the chaos and strength in self-possession. 2. Pursuing external validation. Intelligent people instinctively know that the pursuit of external validation is a hollow endeavor, one that traps individuals in a never-ending cycle of seeking approval from others, often at the expense of their authenticity and inner peace. From a Stoic perspective, this constant quest for validation is deeply problematic because it places one's self-worth in the hands of others, people who are often fickle, inconsistent, and driven by their own insecurities. Intelligent people, on the other hand, avoid this trap by grounding their sense of self in their own values, principles, and personal achievements, rather than the opinions of others. They have a firm understanding that no matter how much praise or recognition they receive from the outside world, it is fleeting and can never provide lasting fulfillment. Instead of chasing after compliments, awards, or social approval, they focus on living in accordance with their own inner standards. This doesn't mean they are arrogant or dismissive of constructive feedback. Rather, they take feedback into consideration but don't let it define their self-worth. For instance, a person with this mindset may work diligently on a project not for the applause it may receive, but because they find meaning and purpose in the work itself. Even if others do not recognize their effort, they remain satisfied because they know they have done their best. Stoicism teaches that living according to nature, acting in line with one's true self and values, is the highest good. Therefore, intelligent people avoid the dangerous cycle of people-pleasing and the stress that comes with constantly worrying about what others think of them. They realize that true peace and confidence come from within, not from external sources. They avoid bending their character to fit in with societal expectations or changing their behavior to win the favor of others. By freeing themselves from the need for external validation, they maintain their integrity and live authentically, finding contentment in their own approval rather than in the fleeting opinions of the world. 3. Excessive attachment to material possessions. Intelligent people have a deep understanding that true happiness and fulfillment cannot be found in the accumulation of material possessions. They are keenly aware that wealth, luxury, and status, while pleasant, are ultimately transient and unreliable sources of contentment. Stoicism teaches that material things are indifferent, neither good nor bad in themselves, and should not be the foundation of one's happiness. Intelligent individuals internalize this lesson by consciously avoiding excessive attachment to possessions, knowing that to place too much value on external things is to make oneself vulnerable to loss, disappointment, and anxiety. For instance, an intelligent person may appreciate the comfort of a well-appointed home or the convenience of a reliable car, but they do not let these things define their sense of self or become the primary focus of their life. They are not enslaved by the desire for more money, more gadgets, more luxury, because they recognize that these pursuits often lead to a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Instead, they focus on cultivating inner wealth, which consists of virtues like wisdom, compassion, resilience, and self-discipline. These are the kinds of riches that cannot be taken away by external forces, whether through economic downturns, theft, or accidents. By minimizing their attachment to material goods, intelligent people free themselves from the fear of losing them. They avoid the stress and anxiety that often accompany consumerism and materialism, knowing that their true value lies not in what they own but in who they are. This perspective allows them to enjoy the things they have without becoming overly dependent on them. If they were to lose their possessions tomorrow, their sense of self would remain intact because they understand that material things are not the source of their happiness. This detachment from possessions fosters a sense of freedom and contentment that material wealth alone can never provide. They live with the knowledge that the less they need, the richer they truly are. 4. Complaining and blaming. Intelligent people are mindful of the futility of complaining and blaming, understanding that these behaviors are counterproductive and often rooted in a refusal to accept reality. Complaining is essentially a way of resisting what is, an attempt to voice dissatisfaction with something that has already happened or is happening, as if mere expression of discontent could somehow change the outcome. Stoicism, however, teaches that reality is indifferent to our complaints, and railing against it only serves to disturb our own peace of mind. Intelligent people avoid this trap by focusing instead on what they can control: their reactions, attitudes, and actions. When faced with an unpleasant situation, they do not waste time or energy complaining about it. Instead, they either work to change the situation if it is within their power, or they accept it with grace if it is not. For example, if an intelligent person finds themselves in a job they dislike, rather than spending hours complaining to co-workers or friends about how unfair or stressful the situation is, they focus on actionable steps. They might seek out new opportunities, work on improving their skills, or adjust their attitude towards their current role to make it more bearable. Similarly, intelligent people avoid blaming others for their problems. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility, and intelligent individuals understand that blaming external forces, whether other people, circumstances, or fate, does not help them solve their problems. It only reinforces a victim mentality, which undermines their sense of agency and control. Instead of blaming, they focus on what they can do to improve their situation, even if it means taking ownership of their own mistakes. When something goes wrong, they do not immediately look for someone to blame, but instead ask themselves what role they played in the outcome and what they can learn from the experience. By avoiding the habits of complaining and blaming, They cultivate a mindset of personal responsibility, resilience, and proactive problem-solving. This approach not only leads to more effective solutions, but also fosters a sense of inner strength and autonomy, as they recognize that their well-being is largely determined by their own actions and attitudes rather than by the whims of external forces. 5. Dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Intelligent people understand the wisdom of living in the present moment, as taught by the Stoics, who emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our immediate grasp, namely, the present. The past, no matter how significant, is gone, and the future, no matter how carefully planned, remains uncertain. Dwelling on the past often leads to regret, bitterness, or nostalgia, while worrying about the future creates anxiety and fear about events that may never come to pass. Intelligent individuals consciously avoid both traps because they recognize that neither is productive, and that both rob them of the ability to engage fully with the present. When it comes to the past, intelligent people do not obsess over mistakes or missed opportunities. They understand that while it is important to learn from past experiences, ruminating endlessly on what could have been only serves to drain their energy and prevent them from moving forward. They may reflect on the past in order to draw lessons from it, but they do not allow themselves to be imprisoned by regret or guilt. Similarly, they avoid becoming preoccupied with the future, recognizing that while planning and preparation are necessary, excessive worry about what might happen only leads to unnecessary stress. They know that the future is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of anxiety will change that. Instead, they focus on what they can do today, knowing that the present is the only time in which they can actually take action. This mindful approach allows them to remain calm and focused, even in the face of uncertainty. For example, rather than agonizing over whether a project at work will succeed or fail, an intelligent person concentrates on doing their best work in the moment, trusting that their efforts will lead to the best possible outcome, regardless of whether it aligns with their expectations. By avoiding the mental traps of dwelling on the past and worrying about the future, intelligent people cultivate a sense of peace and clarity. They are able to approach each day with intention and presence, fully engaging with whatever life brings their way, without being weighed down by regrets or fears. This practice of living in the present allows them to make the most of their time, to appreciate the small joys of daily life, and to maintain a sense of balance and perspective, even in the midst of life's inevitable challenges. 6. Being ruled by emotions. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but intelligent people recognize that allowing emotions to rule their decisions and actions can lead to poor outcomes and unnecessary turmoil. Stoicism teaches that while emotions themselves are not inherently bad, they should be governed by reason and not allowed to dictate our behavior. Intelligent individuals practice emotional regulation by acknowledging their feelings, understanding their sources, and then deciding how to respond in a way that aligns with their values and principles. They avoid being reactive, which often leads to regrettable decisions, and instead strive to be proactive in managing their emotions. When faced with anger, for example, they do not let it erupt uncontrollably, potentially damaging relationships or reputations. Instead, they pause, reflect, and choose a measured response that allows them to address the issue at hand without being overtaken by their emotions. Similarly, in moments of fear or anxiety, they do not allow these emotions to paralyze them. Instead, they acknowledge the emotion, assess the situation logically, and take calculated steps to move forward. This ability to separate themselves from their immediate emotional responses is a hallmark of emotional intelligence, which is a key component of Stoic practice. Stoicism teaches that emotions are transient, and by learning to manage them rather than being managed by them, individuals can maintain a sense of inner calm and stability, even in difficult situations. Intelligent people avoid emotional extremes, knowing that decisions made in the heat of the moment are often short-sighted and unwise. Instead, they cultivate a steady emotional landscape by practicing self-awareness, self-discipline, and mindfulness. This does not mean they suppress their emotions or deny their feelings. Rather, they allow themselves to feel without letting those feelings control their behavior. By maintaining emotional equilibrium, they are able to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and resilience, making decisions that are grounded in reason and aligned with their long-term goals, rather than being driven by fleeting emotional impulses. 7. Idle gossip and negative talk. Intelligent people are acutely aware of the power of words, both in shaping their own mindset and in influencing the world around them. They understand that engaging in idle gossip or negative talk is not only a waste of time but also corrosive to the mind and spirit. Gossip, which involves speaking about others in a frivolous or judgmental manner, often fosters negativity and misunderstanding, while bringing no real benefit to anyone involved. Stoicism teaches that virtuous speech is speech that is honest, kind, and purposeful, and intelligent people strive to live by this principle by avoiding conversations that do not contribute to their own or others' well-being. They steer clear of gossip because they know that speaking ill of others diminishes their own character and can lead to unnecessary conflict or tension in their relationships. Instead of indulging in trivial or harmful talk, they prefer to engage in conversations that uplift, educate, or inspire. For instance, when faced with a group of people gossiping about a colleague or a public figure, an intelligent person may choose to remain silent or gently steer the conversation towards a more constructive topic. They are mindful of the fact that the words they speak have consequences, and they take care to ensure that their words align with their values. Furthermore, intelligent people avoid engaging in negative self-talk, recognizing that the way they speak to themselves can profoundly impact their mental and emotional health. They are aware that constantly criticizing or belittling themselves can lead to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, or depression, and so they make a conscious effort to cultivate a positive and supportive inner dialogue. By avoiding gossip, negative talk, and idle chatter, intelligent people protect their mental and emotional well-being, while also fostering more meaningful and positive connections with others. They understand that words can either build up or tear down, and they choose to use their words wisely, knowing that virtuous speech is a reflection of a virtuous mind. 8. Procrastination. Procrastination is often seen as a form of avoidance, a way to delay confronting tasks that feel overwhelming, tedious, or uncomfortable. However, intelligent people recognize that procrastination is ultimately self-defeating, leading to unnecessary stress, missed opportunities, and feelings of regret. Stoicism teaches the value of action and the importance of doing what needs to be done without delay, emphasizing that life is short and that every moment counts. Intelligent individuals internalize this lesson by avoiding procrastination and adopting a proactive approach to their responsibilities. They understand that putting off tasks only makes them more difficult in the long run, and that the stress of an unfinished task can weigh heavily on their mind, detracting from their ability to enjoy the present. When faced with a task, whether it's a difficult work project, an uncomfortable conversation, or a personal goal, they take action promptly, knowing that the sooner they address the issue, the sooner they can move on with a clear mind. For instance, if an intelligent person has a report due at work, they do not wait until the last minute to start writing it. Instead, they break the task down into manageable steps and begin working on it as soon as possible, allowing themselves plenty of time to revise and improve their work. By avoiding procrastination, they not only reduce their stress but also produce higher quality results, as they give themselves the time and space needed to think clearly and creatively. Intelligent people also understand that procrastination can become a habit, one that is difficult to break once it takes hold. To avoid falling into this trap, they cultivate a sense of discipline and accountability, setting clear goals and deadlines for themselves and holding themselves to them. They know that action begets action, and by consistently taking small steps towards their goals, they build momentum that carries them forward. By avoiding procrastination, they free themselves from the anxiety of unfinished tasks and create a sense of order and control in their lives, allowing them to focus on what truly matters with clarity and purpose. 9. Living without purpose. Intelligent people understand that living a life without purpose is like drifting aimlessly through a vast sea without a compass. Stoicism teaches that a meaningful life is one lived in accordance with one's principles, directed towards a greater good that transcends the individual's own immediate desires. Intelligent individuals avoid living without purpose by consciously cultivating a sense of direction and meaning in their lives. They do not simply go through the motions of daily life, chasing superficial goals like wealth, fame, or comfort. Instead, they seek to align their actions with their values and to contribute to something greater than themselves, whether it's through their work, their relationships, or their personal growth. For example, an intelligent person may choose a career not because it offers the highest salary, but because it allows them to make a positive impact on the world, whether by helping others, advancing knowledge, or creating something of lasting value. They understand that a life driven solely by the pursuit of pleasure or material success is ultimately unfulfilling, and that true satisfaction comes from living with intention and purpose. By avoiding the trap of living without purpose, intelligent people cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is deeper and more enduring than the fleeting pleasures of success or comfort. They wake up each day with a sense of direction, knowing that their actions are contributing to something meaningful, whether it's raising a family, building a business, or simply living in accordance with their moral principles. This sense of purpose provides them with the resilience to navigate life's inevitable challenges, as they are able to draw on their inner strength and sense of mission when times get tough. They avoid the emptiness that comes from living without a clear sense of direction, and instead, they find joy and meaning in the pursuit of their goals, knowing that they are living in alignment with their highest values. 10. Fearing death. Perhaps one of the most profound lessons of Stoicism is the idea that death is not something to be feared, but accepted as a natural part of life. Intelligent people internalize this Stoic teaching, understanding that the fear of death can rob them of their ability to fully live. They avoid this fear by embracing the reality of their mortality and using it as motivation to live with greater intention and purpose. Rather than allowing the inevitability of death to cause anxiety or dread, they view it as a reminder to make the most of the time they have. They understand that death is beyond their control, and that fearing it will not prevent it from happening. Instead, they focus on living a life of meaning and integrity, so that when the time comes, they can face death with a sense of peace, knowing that they have lived well. For instance, an intelligent person may use their awareness of mortality as a prompt to strengthen their relationships, pursue their passions, or contribute to their community. They do not waste time on trivial pursuits or distractions, because they understand that their time on earth is limited. This perspective allows them to live with a sense of urgency and purpose, while also cultivating a sense of acceptance and serenity about the inevitable end of life. By avoiding the fear of death, they free themselves to live fully in the present moment, appreciating each day as a precious gift rather than worrying about what lies ahead. They know that the true measure of a life well lived is not in its length but in its depth, and they strive to fill their days with meaning, purpose, and love.